What if there existed a truth so corrosive, so utterly forbidden, that merely knowing it could begin to unmake your mind? Not a monster, not a myth, but a force. One that infects thought, fractures perception, and erodes reality itself from the inside out. Hastur, the King in Yellow, is far more than a figure from obscure cosmic horror. He is the embodiment of an idea so terrifying that it destabilizes everything we take for granted. He represents the notion that reality is fragile, that identity is an illusion, and that madness isn't a collapse, but a transformation. You may have heard of Lovecraft, you may think you know the mythos, but nothing will prepare you for what lies ahead. In this video, Abyssal Narratives descends deep into the labyrinthine myth of Hastur, where cursed manuscripts, lost cities, and forbidden knowledge converge to unravel the boundaries of sanity. Through 5 chapters, we will uncover the origins, the symbols, and the devastating truths that surround the King in Yellow. But beware, once you know his name, there's no going back. Origins of Hastur, echoes of madness. Before he was a god of madness, before his name echoed in the minds of the broken, Hastur was only a whisper, not a myth, not a monster. Just an eerie suggestion, a presence without a face, drifting through strange and lonely stories. The trail begins in 1886 with Ambrose Bierce's unsettling tale, An Inhabitant of Carcosa. A nameless man wanders a ghostly landscape of tombs and dying light, slowly realizing the truth. He's already dead, and he's walking through the ruins of Carcosa, a city outside time, soaked in silence and decay. No mention of Hastur yet, just a name, Carcosa, but something has begun. Nearly a decade later, in 1895, Robert W. Chambers would take that name and fill it with dread. In his collection, The King in Yellow, he introduces a cursed play, so powerful it drives its readers to madness. And woven through that world is Hastur. He doesn't appear directly, but his name drifts through the text like a warning. Sometimes a place, sometimes a presence, always feared, never explained. In Chambers' hands, Hastur becomes a contagion of thought, an idea that infects, distorts, and consumes. The cursed play spreads his influence like a virus of despair. Later, when H.P. Lovecraft absorbed these names into his own mythos, Hastur transformed again. No longer a reference, he became a force, a symbol of entropy, decay, and the unraveling of reality. Lovecraft never defined him, but that ambiguity only made him more terrifying. From a ghost of a name in Bierce's story to a devastating concept in Lovecraftian horror, Hastur ceased to be a character. He became a phenomenon, an idea that kills. And once you hear his name, it stays with you. The King in Yellow, the play that breaks reality. What kind of story could destroy the mind? In Chambers' mythos, The King in Yellow is more than a play. It's a weapon disguised as art. At first glance, it seems harmless. Readers are drawn in by its beauty, its mystery. But once they reach the forbidden second act, the world begins to warp. The air feels heavy. Shadows shift. Reality itself becomes uncertain. Those who read it begin to lose their grasp on time, on place, on self. The play doesn't attack them violently. It erodes them quietly, layer by layer. The transformation is subtle, almost poetic, until it's too late. At the center of this unraveling stands a figure cloaked in yellow, masked and unknowable, Hastur. The play isn't just fiction, it's a transmission, a contagious philosophy that reprograms logic, memory, and meaning. Once its words enter your mind, they begin to rearrange it. The mind resists at first, trying to anchor itself to what's real. But the play is patient. It doesn't shatter the psyche in one blow. It rewrites it, like a corrupted script slowly replacing the original. This isn't just madness, it's conversion. Forbidden knowledge and the human cost. Why do we seek truths that destroy us? The King in Yellow doesn't force itself upon the curious, it beckons them. Artists, scholars, seekers of hidden things, all drawn to it like moths to a flame. But what they find isn't illumination. It's a black void, wearing the mask of revelation. The deeper they read, the more distorted their minds become. not just psychologically, but existentially. Ideas begin to bleed into each other, time folds, logic unravels. They encounter truths the brain simply can't file away, concepts that refuse categorization, that unravel the structure of thought itself. In Hastur's world, truth is not a blessing, it's a poison. And at Abyssal Narratives, we remind you, not every door is meant to be opened. So why do we still reach for the handle? Is it arrogance? Is it simple curiosity? Or is it something older and deeper? A flaw coded into human nature, a hunger for fire stolen from the gods. Maybe it's not just a desire to know, but a desperate need to feel that something greater exists, even if that something devours us. Whatever the reason, one fact remains. Those who peer too deeply into Hastur's veil never return. And worse, they no longer want to. Carcosa, the ruins of the divine. Beyond words, beyond sanity, lies a city, Carcosa, a forgotten place on the black shores of Lake Hali, where twin suns hang frozen in a sky that never changes. Time falters, space unravels. It is a paradox made stone, a city both decaying and eternal, beautiful and ruined, real and not real. Carcosa is not salvation. It is the holy ruin of Hastur's influence. Seekers arrive in search of answers, transcendence, or forbidden knowledge. But all they find are whispers in the dust, bones buried beneath collapsed towers, and a silence so complete it seems to swallow thought. Once majestic, now collapsing under the weight of forgotten gods, Carcosa stands as a monument to the failure of all human striving. Knowledge, perfection, enlightenment, turned to ash. It reflects our ambition back at us, not as triumph, but as hubris, not as truth, but as delusion. A city that doesn't reveal, but deconstructs. It is not a place of clarity, it is a mirror. And what it shows is despair. This is not just a ruin, it is the graveyard of meaning. A cathedral of decay where the only sermon is silence, and the only God still listening is Hastur. The collapse of self-identity devoured. Perhaps the most horrifying truth in Hastur's myth is this: you don't simply lose your mind, you lose yourself. Those ensnared by the King in Yellow begin to forget their names, their lives, even the feeling of being human. They dissolve into roles, mere characters in a play they never agreed to join. Identity is not sacred in Hastur's domain. It's a mask, temporary, paper-thin, and once the cosmic truth begins to seep in, that mask slips. Eventually they realize they were never real. They were just lines in a script, and Hastur is the one writing it. The yellow sign, a mark that claims the soul. Among the most disturbing symbols in the mythos is the yellow sign, an arcane glyph that appears without warning, carrying with it a curse that feels almost alive. It's not just ink, it's not paint. It's an idea that implants itself into the mind like a virus. Descriptions vary. Some say it's a spiral, others see a trident, a cracked crown, or an eye turned inside out. But everyone who sees it knows. They feel the chill, they feel the shift, they feel the presence. From that moment, they are marked. Their dreams change, they hear sounds in silence, reality feels staged. The yellow sign is a trigger, a psychological key that opens the door to other dimensions, memories not your own, and whispers from a God that does not sleep. It is not a warning, it is a summons. And now that you've heard of it, how long before you start to see it? Memory, madness, and the mind's final breach. The mind is the final fortress, but under Hastur's influence, even memory becomes corrupted. Victims begin to suffer from a new form of decay, not just madness, but continuity collapse. They remember things that never happened. They forget the ones they swore they'd never lose. Eventually, they begin to recall memories that don't even belong to them. This is no ordinary breakdown, it's cognitive contamination. Hastur doesn't chase, he restructures, thought by thought, memory by memory, until what remains isn't insanity, but a consciousness that has fully accepted unreality. People remember walking along the shores of Lake Hali, but they never left home. They recall wearing yellow robes, but never owned them. and slowly they begin to speak in the first-person plural. We remember, we dreamed. Hastur doesn't just steal your sanity, he rewrites your soul. Through madness we see. Hastur is not a monster hiding in the dark, he is the dark. The silence that deafens, the truth that burns, the infection that strips away illusion and leaves only unbearable clarity. But perhaps that truth has power. At Abyssal Narratives, we don't look away from the abyss, we step into it. Not because we enjoy fear, but because we believe fear reveals us. Horror, at its most profound, is not an ending. It's a mirror. It challenges, it transforms, it survives. The King in Yellow is not just a tale of doom, it is a test. It asks, what are we when everything familiar is gone? When identity, time, and reason dissolve into noise. And it answers, we are curiosity, we are fear, but we are also resilience. You cannot unsee what you've seen. You cannot unhear the name Hastur, but you can choose what to do with it. You can run, or you can face it, and emerge changed. If you've made it this far, then you are not like the others. You are a seeker, a wanderer, a mind drawn to the mysteries between worlds. So subscribe to Abyssal Narratives. We explore the unspeakable, the forgotten, the arcane, not to escape reality, but to understand what lies beneath it. Because the next story we